Hey, everybody. Welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my co-host sister and partner in crime, who is laughing her ass off at me, Katie Weaver. Welcome to the show, Katie.
Hey, guys.
I screwed up big time. I set our countdown clock to start the show for 15 minutes, not 15 seconds. Which, that would be a little awkward. Sorry, we're a little late. Tech has not been our friend tonight, obviously, because I just now immediately really screwed that up. But Katie looked at me. The second that countdown clock started, she looked at me and I looked at her and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Okay, I'll just stop for 15 seconds. So no worries. We'll never actually make you wait 15 minutes till we come on.
We won't. But that was great.
Yeah. What? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Well, when the countdown clock starts, you can hear us. And so we sit quietly. And the reason we do that is because where we're streaming to Facebook and to YouTube, it takes a few seconds for all the text to come together.
Yeah.
And so it's either that or start talking and get cut off, and that screws up the recording and blah, blah, blah. So we do the little countdown clock anyway. But so we're supposed to just sit here quietly, but we can see each other and hear each other. And actually you can hear us. So anyway, that was hysterical.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So lesson learned, 15 minutes and 15 seconds look very different on that countdown clock. So now I know.
Now you know.
Well, other than laughing your butt off at me, how are you?
Well, I'm good. I brought show and tell.
Ooh.
Yes. Late because of tech, Glenda. It's just freaking tech. Yeah. We both had trouble tonight.
Yeah, ridiculous. We both had to restart our computers because things just did not want to connect.
Anyway, yeah, but so
we persevere.
I brought show and tell because I've been talking forever about stuff I'm working on. So I've been making these ornaments.
Oh, cute.
They're a tile.
Yeah. Oh, they're darling.
Anyway, I brought a few to show that are actually done.
Oh, cute. So you're just cutting the vinyl for them.
Yep. I bought the tiles, or you buy them at Lowe's and you have to cut them apart because they're hooked together with the mesh stuff. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I cut the vinyl for them. You can see that when it says Jingle Bells.
I know our lights make it hard. Oh, there you go.
There. Anyway, yeah. So, yep, I made a bunch of them. But anyway, I brought show and tell tonight.
How very fun.
Yeah. It's been a real test, and someone's eyesight might be failing. That's a lot of weeding and like really intricate weeding. So weeding, what that means is when you cut it out of vinyl, then of course you have to use a tool to weed out all the bits that you don't want. And so I bought a light that I can put like right above it so I can see a little bit better. And I went, what's going on my Christmas list? One of those big magnifying glass things on a stand.
Or maybe a visit to the eye doctor. I'm just saying.
I'm afraid I'm getting there.
I mean, I've had bifocals for almost 10 years. I hate to tell you.
I know. Yeah. So anyway, it was a trial in weeding and seeing, but we made it. But I am good. How are you? What'd you make for dinner?
I am good. We ordered out, actually. We had one of those crustless pizzas from Papa Murphy's, which is basically just all of the toppings and the sauce in a container, and you cook it. It's for keto. It was really good.
They're super good. Yeah.
And then I went to the grocery store because it's becoming fairly obvious at this point that we are not going to be able to be together for Thanksgiving in our family because, well, our sister has the coronavirus, unfortunately, and probably so do some people in her family.
Yeah.
And my son has been sick all day and has a fever of 101.
I know.
So I took a very quick trip to the grocery store to purchase stuff like a turkey breast and a ham and stuff for the potatoes and everything, because I'm figuring I'm just going to be making it at home for us. So
yeah, it's unfortunately really looking that way. Yeah. If you backlight the vinyl, you can see the cuts easier. Ooh, thank you. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, you need one of those light boxes that you can
light box. I think Scott has one actually, but
awesome. Well, that'd be cool.
Yes, it definitely sucks because it's, looking like we are definitely going to need to stay apart for the holiday. Yeah. So she
For the first
exposed,
time in our whole lives.
yeah. Yeah. So my kids
It's a
will all be
weird,
home, but we won't. I know it's really weird. It sucks.
yeah.
So, but yeah. Well, so she exposed me on Saturday. And so I had to call and cancel my tattoo appointment.
Oh,
I
bummer.
was
I
going to
have to call
finish. I
and
have a
cancel my
sleeve
massage
I'm
tomorrow.
working on. I'm on
Yeah.
for the last, I don't know, 6 months. Anyway, so this part was all supposed to
Mhm.
get its color and get it finished, but it's definitely not worth exposing the artist, and that's just not what you
No,
do. So anyway,
no, not at
I'm
all.
gonna have to wait a couple more months, but that's okay. I mean, life goes
Yeah.
on. But anyway, yeah, not
Well,
good.
it does. It does. But what we're here to talk about is true crime. So why don't we do that?
Well, yeah, there's plenty of that.
There is. So first, I wanted to just touch on the Daybell Vallow situation because we always touch on that here on the
Mm,
Wednesday night show. And what's happened, which is kind of sad and boring for us in
yeah.
the true crime world, is that now that the trials have been joined, they've been moved clear to June of 2021.
Hmm.
But part of that is because all jury trials in Idaho have been pushed back. There aren't any more happening in
Yeah.
2020. And who knows, this could get pushed back even further. Just interesting because it's just that much more time that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow will just be sitting in
Yep.
jail, just sitting.
Hmm.
We did have, we had an interesting update last week when we talked about, there were immediately some news articles about how the police in Arizona had seen that and she was now a person of interest. And it turns out not true. They are looking
Yeah.
into her death, but they have
Hmm.
not named her as a person of interest at this point. And it
Mm-mm.
kind of came out very pointedly from the police there that they did not want that being said because it wasn't true.
Hmm.
They have been reviewing his case, but
Yeah.
they have not made anyone a person of interest at this point.
No.
Yeah, so that's
Nope.
really all that's going on with that case right now. It's going to be a
Yeah.
while before we have any big updates. But there were a couple of other interesting things that went on in the past week we wanted to share.
Hmm.
The first being that a serial killer called the Yorkshire Ripper, a very famous serial killer in Yorkshire, England, obviously, a British serial
Hmm.
killer. He was convicted in 1981 of murdering 13 women and attempting to murder 7 others between 1975 and 1980. He was serving a life sentence and he died of the coronavirus just a few days ago in a
Yep.
hospital. I did some research on him because we haven't covered him before. I wanted to tell you a little bit about him. His name is Peter Sutcliffe. Pretty interesting situation. He was a pretty lucky guy. He was questioned by the police 9 times before they actually arrested him and really believed that he had done all of these murders and attacks. He started attacking women with a hammer. He would come up to them, like share pleasantries, hi, how are you, nice weather, and then hit them in the back of the head with a hammer and then stab them. And sometimes they lived and sometimes
Jesus.
they didn't, which was crazy. He
Hmm.
just some wild stuff. But yeah, he was questioned over and over again. A lot of his victims were prostitutes, although not all of them. But he had a real obsession with prostitutes, and he used to like sit across the street from where prostitutes were working and just watch them and their johns. And he was really, really obsessed with that.
Hmm.
He told the police that he was just cleaning up the area when he finally did admit to murdering all these women. He actually did admit eventually after he had been questioned for a while, and he said, "The women I killed were filth," which is such a horrible thing to say about other human beings.
Yeah.
He said, "Bastard prostitutes who were littering the streets, I was just cleaning up the place a bit." Horrible thing to say. Never true about
Jesus.
any human being.
Yeah.
He also claimed that he was the tool of God's will and that he heard voices ordering him to kill prostitutes.
Oh, here we go again.
Yeah, Well, get this also. Guess what he did for a living for a couple of years before he started killing people?
Oh my God. He was a
Grave
grave
digger.
digger? Oh
He
my
was a grave
God.
digger. Yeah, I know. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, Chad Daybell in the Daybell um, Vallow case with J.J. Vallow and Tyler Ryan, Chad Daybell was also a gravedigger at one
Mhm.
point in his life. I know. I thought that was really interesting. Like, and I don't want to, defame any gravediggers out there. I'm sure there are lots of great gravediggers who are not serial killers. But I found that sort of interesting that, yeah, he was, following God's will and he was a gravedigger. Some similarities that were kind of weird.
Mhm.
He pled not guilty to the murder charges, but guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. So diminished capacity, or in other places, insanity. It was
Yeah.
basically like an insanity plea. And he was given, I don't know, a whole bunch of life sentences that were eventually rolled into just one, you're staying in prison for the rest of your life
Yeah.
situation. He did in 1984, he went into a psychiatric hospital because he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And he was actually housed in a psych hospital until 2016 when he was deemed
Wow.
fit to go to a regular prison. So he's been in a regular prison until he just died last week of coronavirus. So just interesting. Strange end, I guess if
Yeah.
you're in prison for the rest of your life in a country that does not have the death penalty, then this is how
Right.
it goes, right?
Yep.
This is how it goes. So
Wow. Well, I mean,
strange
on a
end,
couple of notes there, the grave digging is interesting, but
yeah,
also that same old God told me to routine.
right, right. I know, and you question that because that has been used in a false way before, and then you have people who really believe it. And he had a lot of really creepy, bizarre behavior. One thing that was just so gross: when he was arrested, he was wearing, under his pants, he was wearing a V-neck sweater upside down, so it was up on his legs, and the V-neck was right at his junk. And it was one of those V-neck sweaters that has the pads on the elbows, and so the pads were actually on his knees. And they
Weird.
think that he was, well, it's believed that he was probably sexually assaulting his victims after their deaths.
Oh.
Yeah. So super yucky, creepy dude. And,
Ugh.
I mean, I guess when you got to go, you got to go. He
I guess.
refused treatment for corona. I think he was pretty done. He was 74 when he died. He had some other underlying conditions as well, although I hate it when people ask that as though that means they didn't really die of coronavirus, because he definitely did.
Yeah.
But, I think he was ready to be done because he refused treatment.
Wow.
Yeah. So very interesting, but the end of a long story there.
Yeah, for
Served a
sure.
long time, long time in prison before he
Mhm.
died. My goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and it is amazing to me that he was interviewed 9 times
9 times. Yeah.
before he was
There was
arrested.
a lot of criticism of the police and the handling of this because in the time, you could like right before he was finally arrested for these cases, he was arrested on a DUI and he bonded out, and then he killed 2 more women, and then they caught him.
Mhm.
But you think about how many people died in between and why
Mhm.
he just kept slipping through their fingers. I don't know really, but he sure did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Of
hard to
course.
blame the police because, they're what are they? They have to have evidence. They have to have, there have to be grounds for this, but it's kind of shocking
Yeah. Yeah.
to think that this could happen, that somebody could be interviewed that many times before they discover that he's the guy that's, killed 13 women and seriously
Mhm.
injured. And he didn't just attack women. He the ones who lived were hit over the head with a hammer and sliced with a knife. I
Yeah.
mean, they were seriously injured.
Seriously
The ones
injured. Yeah.
so yeah, it was a bad deal. Very bad deal.
Wow.
But I guess if Corona had to take somebody,
Yeah.
Have
him.
This guy.
Wow.
So
Well,
one
that is
other,
quite the case.
yeah, it really is. It really is. There's a whole group of episodes on that case, really, but just interesting to kind of see the ending of that. I'm going to talk also about one other case that has some, at least the beginnings of a resolution, and that is in the Rebekah Gould murder.
Yes.
This is very interesting. So Rebekah Gould was last seen alive on September 20th of 2004. This was in Melbourne, Arkansas. And she had spent the weekend visiting friends in, I'm going to say Guion. It's probably wrong. It's Guion, which is a little town not too far from Melbourne.
Yeah.
And she never showed back up to her junior college in Fayetteville. So police, she was reported missing. Police went to the residence where she had been staying with her friends, and there was a lot of blood in that apartment. And her car keys, purse, and money were all found at the house. So it was pretty obvious that something had happened there, right there in that apartment. And so it seems to me that the police had a pretty good idea of who was involved from day one because of where this was.
Yeah.
Her body was found a week later down a 35-foot embankment off from Highway 9, about 5 miles from Melbourne. So not very far away from where she had been. The cause of death was blows to the head. So the police did interview a lot of people and looked into a lot of situations, apparently, but they never classified this case as a cold case. They kept it open, and now I think I understand why they did, because they have finally now made an arrest in this case. And they arrested William Alama Miller, and he was living in Cottage Grove, Oregon. And let's just tell you a little bit. So there's a lot of fights going on about extradition for him because he is fighting it.
Yeah.
So they have to go through a big, huge thing to be extradited back to Arkansas to be charged.
Oh, yeah.
But they plan to charge him with first-degree murder.
Right. Well, fighting extradition is so pointless unless, they will do it to just slow things down. But the only real argument to not being extradited is if you are not the person they think you are,
Right.
It's not, they have to have a hearing, but that hearing has nothing to do with whether you're guilty or innocent or anything like that. It's just basically if you were going, you guys think that I'm this person, but I'm actually this person, and here's the proof of that. That's the only viable reason that you can actually fight extradition, except for that they're just being difficult and buying a little time, and that's all it's about. That will happen.
Yeah, it will. It just, it can take 30 to 60 days, can take some real time, which, I guess they've been waiting for 16 years to charge this guy. They can wait a little bit more time if they need to. He's now 44, so he was 28 when that murder was committed. And so here's the reason why they didn't let it go cold. I think that they've known all along that this is who they were going to arrest. But he just sort of disappeared off to the Philippines not long after this murder and has been gone. He showed back up in Oregon, and somebody told on him that he was back.
Yep. And they grabbed him.
The police came and got him.
Yep.
He was visiting. He was living he was from Texas, but he was visiting the area where Rebekah Gould was killed at the time that she was killed in 2004. That's really all the information we have about what they have on him. They haven't released anything else. I'm sure they want to keep it very, very on the down low until the actual hearings come forward, but they are saying that they plan to charge him with first-degree murder, which means that they have a lot if they're charging him with first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Seems that they've just kind of been biding their time for this guy.
I would love to know how they knew he was back. if it was on a warrant. Did he get picked up? Did a family member say, I don't think so? What really happened? I'm really curious to know how they knew he was back and,
Yeah.
that there was a
'Cause
warrant
somebody
on the
told
guy. Yeah.
it was obvious that, there were people around that knew that the
Yep.
police were wondering about him.
Hmm.
But it's interesting, it must be people who knew him or family because he was from Texas, and he
Right.
shows back up in Oregon, and the police in Arkansas know. So I'm
Hmm.
I'm I'm putting my money on family members.
Uh-huh. Me too. Me too. That's what I'm thinking as well. I'm also guessing that he was, or feeling like he was a sleaze and
Yeah.
has done a lot of other people dirty as well, and that
Mhm.
they've had enough of his shit.
Well, I mean, he just happened to disappear off to the Philippines after this murder was committed. You can
Yeah.
only imagine what kinda guy he must have been,
Mhm.
just to disappear to another country like that.
Mhm.
That's very suspicious to me.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm really happy for the family of Rebekah Gould
Yes.
that, there will be
Some justice
some
coming,
justice
hopefully.
here. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that he's gonna get what he's got coming to him and that
Yeah,
their family can finally put this to rest.
absolutely. Yeah, it's such a good ending for them, and
It is.
in a
Yeah.
terrible situation to at least get some kind of closure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something. I mean, I think that's all you can offer at this
Hopefully. I
point in a
mean,
situation like
the
this.
day is young. Yeah, but
It is, but at least they have at least some idea of who he is and where he is.
yeah.
Yeah. I did wanna answer Jackie. She said, "Are we doing any readings or energy healing today?" And, no, we aren't, because this is our Wednesday, we call it Weird Wednesday. It's our case update show. We do readings on Thursday night on the Thursday Night Psychic Show. So we'll be back tomorrow night around 8 p.m. Mountain, and
Mhm.
we will be doing readings and energy healings then, Jackie, so
Yeah.
be sure to come back.
Hopefully closer to on time.
Yeah, good.
We'll have our shit together by then.
We will. JR says, "I wonder what he was doing while in the Philippines." Right? Nothing good, you can
I
be
know.
sure. Nothing
Well,
good.
oh, he probably had a wife and kids. He's probably been living a double life over there, doing whatever he wanted. Yeah. Oh, no worries at
Mm.
all, Jackie. And then thanks for being here too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. JR did have a question on the Jennifer Kess case,
I
which
saw that.
just, dropped this morning,
Hmm.
and you read this case, so what do you think about the answer to this question?
Okay, so the question is on the Jennifer Kess case, do you know if the man caught on camera is the suspect or someone else? I believe that is the man. And, one thing that I should have addressed that I didn't, but I was thinking about today on that case is that Jennifer was actually, it looks like she was maybe 5 inches or more taller than him. She was,
Mhm. Yep.
bigger than he was, I don't know weight wise, but, probably not. But she was
Height-wise.
height, yeah, quite a lot taller than he was. But I believe that he had a gun. I think that when he kidnapped her, he had a gun. I feel like the whole time that he, held her, that he was doing so with force, with a firearm. And so that came through to me today that I should have said that because that's what I feel like happened is that, yeah, he might have been smaller than her, but he had a gun and overpowered her that way. But yeah, I do think that that is exactly who it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Stephanie says, "Why did he kill that girl?" I think we're back on the Rebekah Gould case, probably.
Hmm.
Not sure. Not sure on that. They have not released anything. We haven't covered that case and actually read it.
Hmm.
But, it seems that the police and the prosecution know way more than they're saying yet,
Hmm.
although it was a situation where she was staying with friends in an apartment over the weekend, and so some things could have gone down. But I haven't really put any
That's
energy
where
into
I'm at
knowing
on
that.
it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so
I feel like he had already met her with her friends, whether it was at a party or it was, somewhere that he had
mhm.
met her and that he was like a little obsessed with her, and that she turned him down. I mean, it just feels to me like a pretty typical, yucky situation where he had his eye on her and she didn't want anything to do with her. And that he came back to that apartment to try to talk some sense into her to get her to date him. And she didn't want anything to do with him and things, got ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you're right, and we're gonna learn a lot more about that case. We'll keep an eye on
Yeah.
it and see what happens with that trial.
Yeah.
Um, JR says, I was thinking the same thing. If he was so short and they once dated, they should ask her friends if they remember someone of his height. I agree.
Yep.
I think that height is pretty telling because they figured from the security cameras that he was only 5'3" to 5'5", which is pretty short for a man. That's on
Well,
the
Jennifer was
that's
5'8".
Jennifer history. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, even like clear back to high school, junior high, high school, like look way back. Yeah.
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thanks for being here.
Yeah. Well, that is everything that we have for you tonight. We just
It
wanted to
is.
give you some updates on those cases. We will be back tomorrow night with the Thursday Night Psychic Show. We're going to be doing a healing circle, which is a group healing for everyone struggling with the virus right now, including some people in our own family. And then
Yeah.
we will also be offering some readings and healings in that show as well. So
Yeah. So
stick
come
with
and
us.
participate. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Of course, you can find us over on Facebook in our Facebook fan page and discussion group, all named True Crime Paranormal. And we are on Patreon, and we do offer some extra content to our patrons every month. And we really appreciate all of your support and all of you listening and watching and being present with us. And we always ask you to just subscribe, like, and share because that just helps us grow. So you've been listening to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks for being here tonight, you guys.
Take care.